It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their three-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run sixth inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run sixth inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their three-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run sixth inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run sixth inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run sixth inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their 2nd straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their 2nd straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the first and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the first and 8th innings, but in between the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojima's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now both have signed on to stay on the South Side. Every starter in the Mariners lineup had at least 1 hit except Ichiro, who ended his 10-game hit streak. Also, the M's are now 24-8 against left-handed starters, the best in the majors. It's the Mariners and the White Sox. Hernandez against Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle, and you can see it live on MLB.tv beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox finish off their 3-game set this afternoon at Safeco Field. Felix Hernandez will toe the rubber for the Mariners against John Garland. Game time is set for 1:05 p.m. in Seattle. The Mariners took their second straight against the White Sox as winning pitcher Jeff Weaver retired 13 of the last 14 batters he faced. Kenji Jojuma's RBI single kicked off a 4-run 6th inning, and that gave the M's a lead they would never relinquish. With the 7-5 victory, the Mariners sit just 2 games back of the Angels in the AL West, and they maintain a half-game lead over the Yankees in the wild card race. Jim Thome hit home runs in the 1st and 8th innings, giving him 492 for his career. Those home runs came between the 1st and 8th innings, but in between, the White Sox let the game get away. Chicago blew a 3-0 lead, and John Danks allowed 4 runs in 5 innings to see his record fall to 6-11. The White Sox have now lost a season-high 7 straight games, and the club is now in the basement of the AL Central. John Garland has struggled since the All-Star break, allowing 29 runs in 39 innings. Last time out in Oakland, he gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 frames in a 5-4 loss. Garland, who won 18 games in each of the last 2 seasons, is far off that pace this season with a record of 8-8. The King, Felix Hernandez, gets the ball in the finale for Seattle. Hernandez gave up a run on 4 hits in 6 innings versus Minnesota in his last start, although he did not receive a decision in the Mariners' victory. Hernandez has gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 9 starts with a 4-2 record during that span. Jermaine Dye inked a 2-year extension with the White Sox, which will pay him $22 million. Like Mark Burley, Dye was the subject of rampant trade rumors, and now
Did you ever wonder if those tourist ducks really work? You just drove around in them? Well, have a look at this. They do work. There they are out in the middle of Lake Union. As the fans are here at the ballpark and the roof is closing because the weather is not the greatest. It is beginning to rain, and it's the final game of the three-game series between the Mariners and the Chicago White Sox, and the M's are going for a sweep. The Mariners 2 games behind the Angels, who are playing in Boston. We'll have a report on that game and a half a game ahead of the Yankees, who are hosting the Tigers in New York, and we will have a report on that game also. To you all, a very happy Sunday to you, although it may be a little bit damp. Dave Niehaus along with Mike Blowers. And as we look at this final game of this series, the Mariners are going to go with a 21-year-old kid who is trying to earn the tag ace. And I think he's beginning to do that.
Well, he is. His last outing, 6 innings, pitched 1 earned run. The big thing is he's worked deeper into ball games, and he's throwing a lot more strikes. 110 pitches, 73 strikes in his last ball game. Hopefully, with the struggles of the Chicago White Sox, this will be a day where he can go deep into the ball game and save the bullpen.
Felix is one of those kids now that John says doesn't pay any attention to the pitch count at all. He seems to think he can at least throw 120 pitches.
I would think so. I think he's a young guy. He's 21 years old, as you mentioned. He's a big, strong kid. I would think they just turn him loose the rest of the way out. If he's pitching well, let him go.
John Garland has always been a nemesis for the Mariners. As a matter of fact, it's been 5 years since they lost to him, and that was here. But he struggled lately.
He really has. Pretty good sinker, slider guy, but lately 5 home runs in his last 3 outings. His ERA in July was over 6, and in August over 8. So hopefully his struggles will continue today.
So the Mariners trying to leave with a fine homestand at 4-2 if they can beat the Chicago White Sox. And we've been playing some pretty good baseball lately. How about lately? Well, let's check in with Dave Sims.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Not too long ago, we checked in on the schedule, and it showed a lot of 500 or worse clubs coming up on the Mariners' schedule. Let's check in and see how the Mariners have done on our Chevrolet storylines. And how about this? 11 down, 8 to go, taking on Chicago, Minnesota, Texas, and Baltimore. Well, the Mariners have acquitted themselves quite well, an 8-3 record. And how about the batting average at .330? And it's a good thing the team has been hitting, because the team ERA is just under 5. The Pens ERA is 6. Not real good, but that's a mark of a team that could be on its way. It's the final game of the homestand. Seems like we'll be away for about 3 weeks, with the exception of those Angels games coming up next week. We'll be back with Dave and Mike with a look at the starting lineups right after this.
Rainy Sunday in Seattle on FSN is brought to you by your Northwest Dodge dealers. Visit PacAmGold.com for information on the 2007 Northwest Dodge Dealers Pacific Amateur Golf Classic. By Steel and your local Steel dealers. By Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by AT&T. Singular's name is now AT&T. Your world delivered. We are all buttoned up here in Seattle as the rain has joined us for this afternoon ball game. And so let's look at the lineups, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Tonight's lineups are brought to you by AT&T. See, it's Ichiro, Guillen, Ibanez, Beltre, Sexton, Lopez, Jamie Burkett to start behind the plate today. You can see he's done a nice job with a .317 average, and Betancourt is hitting ninth.
So the Mariners taking the field, and the Pike Place Market this week celebrating its 100th anniversary before the Mariners head on to the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Why not a little touch of the old home cooking and the... Throw me a fish. Come on. Throw me one. I've always wanted to catch a fish. I'd probably drop it. We'll be back and have more right after this timeout. And welcome back. You haven't missed the first pitch because here it is as Jerry Owens takes a strike right at the knees as we are underway about a minute early here this afternoon on this rainy Sunday. Also played the ball game with the roof extended last evening. And a ground ball to the shortstop. Betancourt has it, and an off-balance throw pulls the first baseman Sexton off the bag at first base. So not the greatest of starts.
All right, you saw Owens. Now we have Fields, Tomey, Dye, Erstad, Uribe, Podsednik, Hall, and Ricard hitting ninth. Rico scouting report on Felix Hernandez. You can see just 2 walks in his last 3 starts. Still pretty good in his strikeout number, 6th in the league. And behind him you have Ibanez, Ichiro, Guillen. In the outfield, Beltre, Betancourt, Lopez, Sexton across the infield, Burke behind the plate. Felix is on the mound.
So Jerry Owens with a little infield hit. Snaps a little old for 14. For Owens, he goes, and the pitch is swung on, and a ground ball hit right to Betancourt. And by sending the runner, he's down there at second base. So Ozzie Guillen being very, very aggressive here at the outgo.
Maybe he's getting tired of waiting for walks and homers for his club, trying to make something happen early. Owens with pretty good speed. Ricard, the 9-hitter, has got a pretty good idea of running around the bases too, so he'll probably turn those 2 guys loose today.
So Jim Tomey, who had a couple of home runs in last night's ball game will step in for Tommy. He had just one home run here at Safeco Field and 81 career at bats prior to last night. His only other home run coming 5 years ago while a member of the Cleveland Indians. And he can hit some majestic home runs. He also had one taken away by Ibanez. So he came close to having 3 home runs in last night's ball game.
And he's hit a couple off of Felix in his career.
No. A feeling of fall in the air here on this, the 19th of August. Only 61 degrees at game time. And a strike, 2-1. For the Mariners, they're basically off on a 3-week road trip tomorrow. Interrupted only by a 3-game homestand next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the Angels. 3 very big games against the Angels. And that's down low and inside. And while the Mariners are doing all their traveling, the Angels will be at home because they have 17 of their next 20 at home. The only 3 on the road up here.
And then you take a look at their schedule. You said you get through this road trip, then they have the Angels, the Indians. They're going to end up with the Yankees, the Tigers. They do sprinkle Toronto in there, but all those clubs are playing for something, so it makes it difficult. A lot of pressure in those games.
Speaking of pressure, Mr. Hernandez applying a little bit of pressure on himself here in the top of the first, as he has runners at first and second with only 1 down. And Jermaine Dye, a 400 hitter against Felix up there. Meanwhile, the Angels have tacked on 1 more and lead the Red Sox 3-0 in the 7th inning at Fenway. And the Yankees up on the Tigers 6-3. There's a shot at a double play. An easy double play, as a matter of fact, and the inning is over. 6-4-3 here in the first inning. A hit, a man left. We are underway. The White Sox don't score. Mariners coming up.
Okay, you have Ichiro Vidrogian. Ibanez has been really hot. Beltre, Sexton, Lopez, Burke, Betancourt hitting ninth. Our Rico scouting report on Garland. You can see it's the first time the Mariners will face him this year, but he's had success in the past. 6-1 with a 2.59 ERA. And the defense behind him, you have Podsednik, Owens, Dye in the outfield, Fields, Uribe, Ricard, Erstad across the infield. Hall is getting to start behind the plate, and Garland's on the mound.
And John misses with his first pitch, a little low and inside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on Ichiro. Had a 10-game hitting streak snapped last night. And a change outside. Down low with that, so 3-0. Garland at 6'6". 215 pounds. At the knees. And picked that one off the ground and sends a foul ball up the first baseline. That was probably ball 4. So come back.
Talked about some of the struggles of Garland as of late. He's never been an overpowering guy, but right now it's fastball at 88 miles an hour. He certainly has thrown harder than that. Typically he's 91, 92 in that area.
Another big crowd here today, around 44, 45,000. And Ichiro slices it down the left field line and into the stands off the third base side. And strike 3 called as Ichiro is backing away from that breaking ball. And Yasanga bringing him up.
We'll take a look at it. 78 miles an hour. Changeup. I think Ichiro maybe thought that pitch was high. See, it's right at the top of the zone, according to Joe's tracer.
Out hitting Jose Vidro. Hitting .405 since the break. And that ball is spanked into deep right center field. And straightaway right field it turns out to be. And Vidro on his way for 2. And will slide in with a double. Garland appears to me to be throwing more junk than I remember him throwing.
Well, I would agree. And this right here is another off-speed pitch that he just hammers. And again, Dave, I talked about it. Looking at his numbers, you had to wonder if he was healthy coming into this ball game because of the home runs he's been giving up and the amount of fly balls that he's been throwing. Because typically he's on the ground, but his fastball is 88 miles an hour. I'm telling you, he's 92. With a pretty good sink to it. Now he's throwing change-ups and breaking balls.
Jose Guillen, the hitter. And another breaking ball. It's belted deep to left field. Make it 2-0. Fly away. Jose Guillen, no doubt about that one. And the Mariners are on top early. 2-0 for Jose Guillen. His 17th home run of the year. Absolutely no doubt about that, baby. That was a pretty thing.
He wasted absolutely no time. The first pitch that he sees, you're right, Dave. He absolutely hammers it. You can see it's another breaking ball up and out over the plate.
17th home run that Garland has given up. Raul Ibanez, who's been red hot, has a strike called on him by the third base umpire, Paul Emmel, after the appeal. And got away with a hanging breaking ball that time, and sliding but unable to make the catch is Toby Hall.
This goes back to what you're talking about, Dave. Look at this breaking ball. It's just up and out over the plate. Not much bite to it, and it is hammered.
Way in the back of the pen. Backed up by that fastball. That's 90 miles an hour. That's his best fastball so far. And that just missed inside.
Raul's done a lot of damage in the month of August. 439, 7 home runs.
Nibbling a little bit and missing outside. Ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Beltre on deck. And that fastball is poked to left field. And Erstad has got room to get over there and make that catch. So Beltre will step up to the plate. He's had a good series. 2 hits last night. 3 hits the night before.
Has his average up to 274 with 18 home runs and 71 RBIs. 31 doubles.
Change that time. Almost looked like I don't know, I guess a straight change.
Straight change up. It's going to move down a little bit away from left-handers.
Good hard fastball that time. Fouled away. And a high towering fly to deep right center field. That's got a shot, and that baby's gonna fly away. Adrian Beltre, number 19, as he goes out there just to the left of the 385 sign. So 2 bombs here in the first inning. A 2-run bolt by Guillen, and a solo shot by Beltre. It's 3-0.
Well, it's a fastball out over the plate to Adrian. He's done a nice job of hitting the ball all over the ballpark, and Inston's hammered to hit it out where he hit it up there. It's a long ways. Oh, nice play by the fan. Barehanded catch out there. We talked about Garland giving up 5 home runs his last 3 rounds. 2 already here in the first inning.
And here's Ritchie taking a strike.
See why he stays behind that. He's a strong guy. He can stay on his backside and drive it. He can hit it as far as anybody, especially the right center. Tremendous power the other way.
Slider low and away. White Sox have lost 7 in a row. Like he's pushing it.
You mentioned his frame, tall, 6'6", and it looks like he's short arming it. A little unusual. He just looks different to me. I'm not sure that he's completely healthy. This will be his 30th pitch of the inning.
There it is, the Dodge pitch count coming up, number 30.
He's getting the ball up in the zone for a sinker ball or a guy with a good two-seamer. That's not a good sign. It explains a lot of the home runs he's given up as of late.
Full count. Fastball down the middle, and that baby's hit to deep right center field, but not deep enough. As moving over will be Jerry Owens to make the catch and retire the side. However, the Mariners come up with the long ball. The big artillery and scored 3 in the first. After 1, they lead it 3-0. From Safeco Field in Seattle, the Mariners wrapping up the homestand, and a quick 3 on the board thanks to a 2-run home run by Guillen and a solo shot by Beltre. So with Felix Hernandez 3 on a count, he'll deal to Erstad, Uribe, and Scott Pasednik here in the second inning. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on Erstad.
Felix had a pretty quick first inning, just 9 pitches to get through it.
Thanks to the double play. And he's down with that. He's missed with the first 3. A little disgust in his body language out there. And he lost it. Second walk he's given up. And the shortstop Juan Uribe will be the batter. He's only thrown 1 strike here so far in the second inning. Jimmy Burke is going to have a little conference with him.
It looks like he always falls off a little bit off the left side of the mound, but it looks like he's doing a little bit more today. Jamie's going back there and telling him to straighten things out a little bit, not overthrow the baseball. He doesn't need to do that.
Strike. 1-1. Nice, easy 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Nice play by Jamie.
Two and one. Just a fabulous crowd today. Might have another sellout here. And he's behind. 3-1 to Uribe.
Looks like he's getting frustrated with himself. He knows. I mean, we talked about it with the White Sox. They like to walk and hit the home run, and he's certainly aware of that. We're not talking about anything the guys down the dugout don't already know.
And Steve right too. Thank you very much. That young man's a happy youngster. Look at that. Razor Shine's getting out of the way of that ball. Shot at 2. 1 and 2. Even with the bobble. 4-6-3.
Well, there was a bobble, but Jose ends up hanging with it. Knows he has time to at least get the runner at second base still, even with the bobble. Betancourt, nice job of getting out of the way. Felix with a couple of double play balls.
Mighty happy. The 7th taking the strike. Going to be foul. Big outing tomorrow for Horacio Ramirez as he tries to get the ship righted indoors at the Metrodome against Matt Garza, who was so effective.
He was very good, and he's also on the turf. It's going to be a fast infield for him. He's going to have to pitch well.
That's another foul ball by Giuseppe. There's only one hit in his last 15 at bats. Top.
Felix is throwing him everything. Good two-seamer. Breaking ball down in the zone. See, everything's down.
And fouling them off, certainly making him work. Felix is on his way to the dugout.
Well, you can see Joe's tracer there. That was a ball off the plate.
Full count now, 3-2. Toby Hall is the man on deck. Quite an at bat, as I said. This will be the 10th pitch to Scott Pacednik. And he's going to be up there for at least 11.
This is his last outing. It took him 110 pitches to get through 6 innings and 73 for strikes. You have to look at that and know that they fouled a lot of pitches off of him in that outing as well.
And he finally puts it in play. And Lopez throws him out. So here in the second, ends up being a 3-up and 3-down inning thanks to the double play. We go to the bottom of the second, still 3-0. As you see, they're here again. They're always here.
Just married 4 teens to feed. Better send up a lot. They're going to be the winners.
Jose Lopez leads it off and sends a ground ball to third, and Josh Fields will take care of that. You kids ages 6 to 12 can head to Ivers, any Valley location, and enter for the chance to take part in Ivers and Kid Valley's Kids Appreciation Day, Sunday, September the 30th. You could be selected to throw out the first pitch. You could be an honorary member or one of the many other fun jobs on Kids Appreciation Day. You can enter this weekend. Jamie Burke, the catcher, the hitter, taking high and outside. Doing one. And he's going to have himself a hit, I think. Another one. He's a tough out.
He absolutely is. He does a nice job of putting the ball in play. Talked to him a number of times about he can see hardly any stride at all. And he has the right approach. He basically told me, he said, listen, I don't get to play that much, and when I get an opportunity, I want to put in play and give myself a chance to get some hits. You sit up there and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark when you haven't seen live pitching but once a week. You're really going to cause problems for yourself. So he has the right idea, the right approach.
You picked up.
Surprised him a little bit.
B's so happy. You're not looking. That's happened before many times.
Yeah.
And that should be an easy out right there at Erstad by the bag. So 2 away. Ichiro caught looking on strikes in the first inning. They had some kids here yesterday. 6, 7, 8-year-old kids from Japan. They were just darling. They were being shown around Safeco Field. Well, you talking about? I've never seen any kids any happier in my life. There's a base hit by Ichiro. I don't know whether they won a contest or what, but every one of them was just darling, and just you couldn't wipe the smile off their face once they got here.
I wonder if they're the same kids that I saw that were down on the field.
They had yellow shirts on?
Yes, they were standing behind the backstop where the guys were taking batting practice, and Ichiro actually came over and signed some autographs, and they looked like they were thrilled.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. So here's Vidro now with 2 on. And down in the dirt. Going to end up down the left field line in the stands. Got him to pop it up, but well back into the stands again. They're in the 9th at Fenway, and the Angels with a 3-1 advantage over the Boston Red Sox. Yankees won. Again, they beat the Tigers. And let's pull foul up the first base line. Yankees with the win of 170 now. Mariners to keep their half-game lead will have to win. That's going to be a big series in New York over Labor Day. Huge series.
Huge.
And he missed with the change outside. Garland's already up to 44 pitches, 43, 44 pitches.
A lot of breaking balls and changeups coming from him.
count. Everybody gets to go now. Burke from second and Ichiro from first.
It's a real advantage for the Mariners if he gets a base hit, because the Chicago outfield's playing shallow, and Jamie getting an opportunity to get a few extra steps will certainly help him score on a base hit.
Here they go. And it's down low, ball 4, so the sacks are full. For Jose Guillen, who took the first pitch thrown to him in the first inning, way back into the bullpen of the White Sox for a home run, his 17th home run of the year. Here comes Don Cooper, the pitching coach.
We'll take a look at it. First pitch, and it's a breaking ball right in the middle of the plate. He hammers it. As Dave said, you can see it hits the back of the bullpen.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. That got the Mariners 2. And so Cooper has had his visit. If I'm Guillen, I might be looking fastball here. Three grand slam home runs. And he got one right on the outside corner. There you go, around the Hornets. Burke, Ichiro down at second, and Vidro is over at first.
They got a couple of fastballs, both of them away, well located. You can see they're right on the corner.
Garland trying to get out of a mess here in the second. And another fastball. It's banged right up the middle on a broken bat. Going to get 2 more in. And the Mariners are going to take a 5-0 lead. Jose Guillen right back through the center of the box. Wood all over the place as Burke scores and Ichiro scores.
After a couple of fastballs away, he comes back in with a good two-seamer. Guillen just fights it off right back up the middle. You can see his bat just shatters, as Dave said, all over the place. A couple more RBIs for him. Take a look at the bat.
So 4 RBIs for Guillen already. That gives him 76 on the year. And Raul will be the hitter. Down low and outside. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Two 2-0.
51 pitches already here in the second inning. There's absolutely no action going on out in the bullpen, so Ozzie Guillen's going to make him work through this one at least.
Change, and it's a strike. And Raul slices one into the gap. However, moving over to make the catch is Jerry Owens. And the inning will come to an end, but the Mariners tack on 2 more and leave 2 out there. And as we go to the third, they enjoy a 5-0 lead. Early for the Mariners and 5-0 over the White Sox. And time now for our Aflac trivia question. And this is an interesting question. As you look at this Norman Rockwell painting, and I know a lot of you have this painting. I happen to have it in my den at home. The question is, can you identify the two Hall of Famers portrayed in this Saturday Evening Post cover? And you'll get another look at it in a moment as Toby Hall leads it off and takes a strike right across the letters. There it is. Rain delay. Can you name the two guys in there that are Hall of Famers? You've seen it a million times, Mike, haven't you?
I have. And I have no idea. Do you?
Yeah, I have some idea.
I'm assuming one of them would be one of the umpires.
I think it's probably Bill Clem. I'm guessing, and I don't know, but I think that's probably Bill Clem, one of the three umpires who's a Hall of Fame umpire. And Toby Hall takes the pitch outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and I think the other guy may be Leo DeRocher. But I don't know that for a fact. I'm anxious to find out myself. That ball's hit hard into the gap in left center field, and that baby's going to take a hop out there by the 368 sign, and Toby Hall has a leadoff double here in the third. That's the second hit off Felix Hernandez, and Danny Richard will be the hitter. Bill Clem was so good. I think he worked something like 12 to 15 years exclusively behind the plate every game. Every game.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's the one with the chest protector then, in the picture.
Yeah. He's the one that needs it.
Really? Every game?
Yeah. 0-1 the count on Danny Richard, who hit the grand slammer the other night. And he went around on that one, 0-2. There it is. Very, very famous painting. That's Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. Yeah, kind of like today, without a roof.
Look at a big pillow chest protector.
Yeah. That for years was the American League chest protector. Although that's a National League ballpark. Maybe back in those days that's all they had. But the balloon protector was usually used by the American League umpires. Inside protector used by National League umpires. Now everybody uses the inside protector. 1-2 on Danny Richard. There you can see, you know, it's so slimmed down you hardly know he even has one on.
I heard they went to it because they said it was tough for them to see the low pitches with the big protector out there.
2-2. And Felix is throwing a lot of pitches too. I mean, here he is at 42 pitches with nobody out in the third.
Pod said certainly gave him a lot of those in the last inning. He ended up getting him out, rounding out the second, but I think it was 11 pitches he ended up seeing.
And that's not even close.
He's tried a couple of change-ups that have not been.
Felix is not happy with himself.
No.
And he lost 10. So that's already 3 walks. Time now for a banner bank building of the future note on Felix Hernandez in his last 3 home starts. Even though he is only 1-0, the team has won all 3 games and he has a 2.5 ERA. Opponent's only hitting .218 against him. They're trying to find a rhythm here as Jerry Owens steps in. And it's on the outside corner for a strike. As a matter of fact, the team went out there so early before the start. He had finished his 8 warm-up tosses and was standing out there cooling his heels for a couple of minutes before the first pitch.
And they still started the game a minute early, so he could have been standing there even longer.
There's a strike, and quickly 2 strikes on Jerry Owens. He could use a nice little 4-6-3 double play right here.
He's had a couple, first 2 innings he's had double play balls.
And instead he hangs one, and it's ripped into the corner. That's going to pick up Toby Hall. Richard's at third base. They're going to wave him around. On his way for 3 is Jerry Owens, and he'll have a 2 RBI triple. That right up in the eyes of Jerry Owens. And just like that, they get 2 back, and there's still nobody out.
You're right, it's an 0-2 pitch. You can see it's up belt high. Look like from where Jamie was setting up, they want to try to backdoor the break. Them all looked like it was in the middle of the plate and up.
So a triple. Rafael Chavez out there barking at him a little bit. There has been something about the Mariners and the White Sox in a 5-run Mariner lead that just doesn't seem to jive. They always seem to come back. And that's a strike on the inside corner. There's a grand slam home run by Josh Fields in Chicago. A grand slam home run by Danny Richard here in the first game of the series, although the Mariners have been able to hang on and win. And a 5-0 lead now is 5-2. And the third run is down there for the picket because the infield is back and the count 1-1 on Fields.
Well, the White Sox are 4th in the league in home runs coming into the game today, so anytime you can hit the ball out of the ballpark, you can get back into a game in a hurry. That's why it's been important for the Mariners offense to continue to tack runs on.
Back, the Angels have completed the victory 3-1 over the Red Sox at Fenway and now head home. So the Mariners are 2.5 back as we speak. And the Angels open up a series against the Yankees in Anaheim tomorrow night. Struck him out, so there's the first out here in the third. And the first strikeout from Felix Hernandez.
Nothing fancy, just throws a fastball 97 miles an hour right by him.
And the big power man of the White Sox, Jim Thome, the hitter. On the outside corner. One.
We have a little bit of a shift on right now. Betancourt playing up the middle. Lopez way over in the hole. Richie playing the line.
Right down the middle. Pitches here in the third inning so far with only 1 man down. Felix. Boy, he is really out of whack, isn't he? Lost that 1-2 pitch and nailed him in the back. Actually in the hip. Right there on the high right hip.
2 of the last 3 hitters he's been ahead of, and one of them hung a breaking ball to give up a triple to Owens. And he ends up hitting Tomey way inside, not even close.
John McLaren, Rafael Chava, he's got to grit your teeth and bear it for a while because you're only in the 3rd. Jermaine Dye takes outside ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. You can't go out there anymore. This inning. Double play ball, just what the doctor ordered. 6-4-3. That's exactly what Felix Hernandez needed because, baby, he was struggling and struggling hard. But only 2 on the board. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's 5-2.
Got 2 out of 3 so far.
She wants to know if she's going to get the 3rd. Leading it off, Adrian Beltre, who hit the home run over the fence in right center field in the 1st inning. Taking a strike. So the way Felix Hernandez is struggling gives, I think, John Garland some hope if he can get back on track.
He's had his own scuffles. 3 in the 1st and 2 in the 2nd that he's given up. Felix, 3 double play balls through the first 3 innings.
And 58 pitches. Off that ball back into the stands down the left field line.
This changeup, just trying to hang in there with it, just hooks it way foul into the seats. Another one.
The Mariners, if they can hang on and win this game, will finish 7-1 against the Chicago White Sox this year. Going into a tough place, however, to win in Minnesota. Beginning tomorrow. Twins have dominated them so far this year. Change, dives low and inside, ball 3, 3-2. Garland's pitch is belted deep to left field, but foul.
Looked like another breaking ball.
Had that sound, didn't it?
Sure did. That was loud. He was swearing the ball out. This has been a nice series for him.
Sinker, two-seamer that time. Got top of it. Full count. And a fly ball to center field, and I don't think he got quite enough of that one. So Jerry Owens makes a catch of that. Okay, now the answer to our Aflac trivia question. There was the question, can you identify the two Hall of Famers portrayed in this famous Norman Rockwell poster, not the New York Post cover? The answer is, and the umpire, I had the wrong umpire, and I should have known. If you look at the man with a chest protector hanging there, and look at his tie, that is a base hit by Richie Sexton into left field. Jocko Conlon always wore a bow tie, and Jocko Conlon is in the Hall of Fame, as is Bill Clem. I guess Bill Clem. Jocko Conlon is one of the Hall of Famers, and the other is the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates there on your right. Not Leo DeRocher, as I guess. I thought it might have been Brooke. But the Fordham Flash, Frankie Frisch. So those are the two Hall of Famers portrayed in that painting.
So Jocko was the only one that wore that type of tie?
As I recall, I remember, yeah. An easy pop up to shortstop off the bat of Lopez, so quickly 2 down. On this date in 1941, Conlon ejected Frisch for bringing an umbrella onto the field in Brooklyn to protest the playing conditions. That's pretty good.
I like it.
Jamie Burke is the hitter. Burke a base hit to left field in his first at bat. And right off the chest of the shortstop, he picks it up, fires to first, and doesn't get it. So Juan Uribe will be charged with an error.
Did pretty well. Oh, in between hop, hits him right on the heel of his glove. Fortunately, it bounced far enough away from where Jamie could beat it out.
Good hustle by Burke. And Unieski now will try and keep the inning going.
Mariners so far 2 for 3 within a scoring position.
Strike at the knees, 0-1. Next pitch will be the 70th already. John Garland only in the bottom half of the third. Uni, a line drive that's fair off the glove of Josh Fields around third. Here comes Sexton. He's going to score. And Jamie Burke to third base, and the Mariners lead it 6-2. That'll be a base hit and an RBI for Betancourt. And the error keeps the inning alive.
Take a look at it. Uni hits it hard. Just pulls his hands inside, and you can see Fields reaching for it off the end of his glove.
So Betancourt going to be given a double. And his 50th RBI. And Ichiro will be the hitter.
Last night's ball game in the same situation, Jose again decided not to pitch Ichiro after three balls were thrown to him. So they just put him on. Typically they would just put him on, but with the way Jose Vidro's been swinging it, he wants to see if he can get him to chase a pitch. See what Garland decides to do.
And he misses with the first two. Let's see if they still pitch to him.
Put him on a 3-0 count last night. Garland will bounce another one out there and then put him on.
I don't think he's going to bounce one up there with a runner up there.
He just did. He just did.
And a ground ball base hit into right field, so Burke's going to score. Here comes Betancourt, and he will score. And the Mariners have a 3-run third inning thanks to the error by Juan Uribe. And Ichiro has his second hit and his 49th and 50th RBIs of the year.
Well, both hits have been in that hole. Right past the first baseman into right field.
So a 7-2 lead, and again the Mariners are back to that 5-run advantage. 8-2, I beg your pardon, is 6-run advantage now. 8-2 lead.
And they are 4 for 5 with men in scoring position. That's taking full advantage of it.
So Jose Vidro is our salute from our friends in the Marine Corps today because of the way he has been hitting. Leads the American League with a .405 batting average since the All-Star break. Matter of fact, it'll be even more than that because he has a double. He's 1 for 1 in this game. And he's also walked. And here comes Don Cooper again on a march out to the mound. It has been a struggle. Ryan Buchvich is throwing now for the White Sox out in the pen, and we're only in the third. But Buchvich has just got up. An 8-3 Mariner lead. Juan Uribe. An error like that'll put it quick in your neck.
Yeah, I mean the only thing for Garland is they're unearned runs, so we'll help him out. But wow.
So the White Sox go home after this game. And I believe they'll be taking on the Texas Rangers next. Vidro, strike one on it. 1-1. And that's a little bit outside, so they counted the ball and the strike. And is trying to win their 41st game at home. 40-24 here. And over the mound, headed into center field. Into center field for a base hit. Ichiro keeps on motoring. He's on down to third base. Like it had eyes. Pedro continues an amazing post-All-Star game streak. 2 more hits.
When you take a look at it, he doesn't hit it hard. It's just well placed up the middle. The second baseman, Ricard, trying to glove it, but I think even if he picks it up, he's not going to have a play.
That's going to be it for John Garland. So John Garland ends up throwing 76 pitches, and he struggled from the beginning when the M's scored 3 in the first. We'll be right back. The Mariners baseball on FSN is brought to you by Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking. By Les Schwab, celebrating 50 years of pride and performance. And by the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. For tickets, go to emeraldqueen.com. Dave Niehaus along with Mike Blowers. And they're tugging at your heartstrings again. How can you deny a little girl as pretty as that in that pink cap and calling you Mr. on top of it? Huh?
I might have to send those fries out to her. Could be a fan for life for me right there.
Absolutely. Isn't she a doll?
I love it. Good to see all the kids out at the ballpark today.
It is. 1-0 on Jose Guillen. Ryan Bukovic is the new pitcher. And he throws it away, and another run's going to come in to score on the wild pitch. So Ichiro makes it 9-2. And Pedro ends up at second base.
See that ball bounces out in front of the plate. Not much chance for Hall to try to block that.
When it looks like it's a runaway and a rout, I have made a vow never to declare victory ever again.
That's probably a good idea, especially as early as this game is.
Well, yeah, but you know, I'm thinking in terms of 2001 and that 12-run lead against the Indians in the 7th inning. Twice. And the Mariners lost that ball game, or they would have had 117 wins that year.
Well, the way the guys have been swinging the bats, I mean, I feel like they're just going to continue to add on to the 9 runs they already have. It's been fun to watch them. They are hitting the baseball all over the place, up and down the lineup.
a towering pop-up, and that will come over and out of play. Two and two. And Guillen takes it high, ball three. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I imagine it's a lot of fun over there in the Hawks booth.
Yeah, I bet. It's been a long year for him.
We've been there. And the 3-2 pitch on the way, and a swinging foul at the plate. And Guillen got that one off his foot, and that hurt. That one really hurt. Get up, Jose. That's what's going to hurt. Barely able to scramble up, and that ball got him right on the foot.
Take a look at it.
Oh, knee. Actually got him in the knee, inside of the knee. Maybe kneecap.
Yeah, I think it's inside of his kneecap. That one's really going to hurt.
So he's staggered.
Just takes the strength out of your leg there for a minute. You can't put any pressure on it. It's just going to buckle on you.
So Jose Guillen gritting and going to hang around with the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
With the way his day has gone so far, I don't blame him for not wanting to come out.
A 4 RBI day, a home run, a single. Only in the 3rd. And Bukovic with the 3-2. He lost him, ball 4. So Bukovic walks the first man he faces, and here comes Raul. Ibanez, a fly ball to left field, a fly ball to center field. Down low, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Mariners are 4 for 5 with men in scoring position and 6 2-out RBIs of their 9. Actually, of their 8 RBIs, 1 scored on a wild pitch. And the pitch is fouled back, so the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Brightened up outside. Once the roof is closed, they don't open it. Looks like it's going to turn out to be a fairly nice day. Down low, ball 2, 2-1. And that's outside. Ball 3. So Bukovic having all kinds of a problem. Throwing strikes. And he lost him. So back-to-back walks. The Mariners have batted around, and the man who started it, Adrian Beltre, with a routine fly ball to center field, will come up for the 2nd time here in the 3rd inning. Bukovic at 2.83 ERA in the 1st inning. Bombs away. That way out there into right center field. Watch the fan make the catch out there. Just over the Mariner tarp. Now a chance to do a lot more damage with the bases full.
The Mariners batted around in the 6th inning last night. Doing that trick again today.
And Bukic can't throw a strike. And he misses inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Bukic has thrown 14 pitches, 10 balls. Over there at third base, Jose Vidro, Jose Guillen at second, and Raul over at first. Oh, baby, did he get a pitch. Oh, give me that one more time, he said.
That pitch up and in. He's still pulling his hands in there. He was able to get the barrel to it, just couldn't get on top of it.
Almost hit it. So Bukic had pitch away from walking in a run and walking 3 straight. There's a strike down the middle. Runners go, and it's lookout. Pull foul down the third baseline. Ken Williams, the general manager of the White Sox, is also along in this trip. He had a meeting with them in Oakland before coming up here.
That hasn't helped him win a game.
No, it hasn't. Runners go again. And he lost him. So that's 3 straight bases on balls thrown by Bukic. Another RBI for Beltran. It's 10-2. The 11th man to come to the plate will be Richie Sexson. Don Cooper. If you're Don Cooper, what do you tell him? Throw a strike.
Yeah, exactly. He made a few trips out to the mound today. He's got a workout just in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's been out there a number of times.
So Coop on his way back to the bench. Richie Sexson a base hit earlier this inning and came around to score. And a fly ball to right center. And a strike on the outside corner, coming up on playing an hour and a half, and we're in the 3rd inning. Down low to Richie, and the count had a ball and a strike. And he misses with that. Ball 2, 2-1.
The pitch he's been able to throw a strike with is a slider, and he keeps trying to throw 2-seamers in and missing way inside.
And a high pop-up this time. Hit into straightaway left field, and finally the agony will be over for the Chicago White Sox. The Mariners have a big 5-run third inning. As we go to the fourth inning of play, it's 10-2 Mariners.
For the Chicago White Sox, going for the sweep. Dave Sims joining in with Mike Blowers, and it sure feels good to beat one this side of what has just happened in the last inning and change.
Well, it's great to watch the Mariners offense. They're just destroying the baseball right now. A number of guys continue to have good days. I mean, you look up and down the line, if everybody's getting involved, it is just a scary proposition for the Chicago White Sox right now with what they're trying to do, and that is trying to break a losing streak 7 in a row coming into this ball game.
Felix Hernandez, all he has to do now is get command of that breaking ball and just throw strikes the rest of the way. He's 3 walks. He's had a double play in each of the first 3 innings that have really helped his cause. He's got 1 strikeout. By Beltre down the left field line. Erstad taking a look, may have a play here, and he just beat it. So a double by Erstad, his 11th of the season, to open up the 4th. Beltre just missed it. Erstad on second base. 4th hit for the White Sox. Here's Juan Uribe. There's another one of those super ball bounces off the plate. There's 1 down. Hey kids, take the Mariners to school with you with 2 great giveaways coming up in September. All kids in attendance on Friday, September 14th take home a special Mariner Moose backpack thanks to Pepsi. And on Sunday the 16th, all kids receive a Mariners lunchbox courtesy of Cloverdale Meats. Tickets for these great giveaway dates are available right now at Mariners.com. Good crowd on hand here at Safeco Field. Clearly going to be 41,000 plus again. Here's Posednik. Scott bounced out to second back in the 2nd inning. At this current pace, Mike, the way the Mariners are swinging the bat certainly is a great launching point for this week-long road trip. Come home for 3, and then that road trip. I mean, basically, what is it? 17 of the next 20 are on the road. 17 of the next 20 are at home for the Angels.
Well, they're going to have to do some damage, and you look at this road trip, they're going to see some pretty good pitching. Minnesota usually pitches well. Texas certainly has had their problems. So you think offensively through the road trip, their guys are going to be fine. They come home real quick when we know the Angels have great pitching. It's what's kept them afloat for most of the year. It was difficult after that with a long trip.
A tapper up the middle. Lopez. Good speed by Posednik. He beats it out, runs, scores. Base hit and an RBI for Posednik. Got his 8th RBI. Take a look at our Sleep Country calendar. Mariners calendar, and it shows that we begin the series in Minnesota. We'll not see Senor Santana, who struck out 17 today. Texas, last time we thought we were going to, when we went to Texas, we thought that we might be looking at an opportunity for the Mariners to do some work, and it went the other way.
And it went the other way. It's a tough ballpark. I mean, you know, you go in there and anything can happen, as we've seen, not just this year, but throughout the years. Offensively, both sides can get it going in that ballpark, so it can be difficult.
Hall, tough top. Oh, 2 hopper to Uni. Took his eye off it. That'll be an E6. It'll be his 22nd error of the season. In Texas this time of year. Dave Hatterberg is one of our great salesmen of Como Radio, and his brother Scott plays with the Reds, and he's relating an anecdote how hard the ground gets down in Texas this time of year when the heat is just out of control.
No question. You know, that's what makes it difficult, because the infield gets so fast, ball bounces all over the place. And then it flies, of course, because of that heat.
Ball gets away from Burke. Runners move up, so runners now at second and third. It's a wild pitch. I mean, that's and I checked the weather this morning. It's going to be low mid 90s.
Oh,
of
nice.
course, high humidity again.
Oh, it'd be nice.
Scotty Polo's big guy.
Yeah, low mid 90s. I thought you were going to tell me 110 or something.
It's pretty good, actually. That's a cold front moving through. Temperatures are expected to be in the 60s in Minnesota.
Let's just hope that keep the thunderstorms away in Texas, so these guys don't have any long delays or have to double up at any point down there.
We won't have to worry about. We're told we won't have to worry about Hurricane Dean in the Dallas area. There are runners at second and third. Let bounce up the middle. Uni this time. Quick flip gets the out, run, scores. 2 down. Toby Hall takes third. Ground ball by Hall. Now they just changed fielder's choice. He's 6. Couple runs in here for the White Sox in the 4th. Top of the order, here's Owens. Triple down the right field line. Ball got caught up underneath the pad in there. It took a while for Guillen to dig it out. Owens a great athlete. Doesn't throw well, but boy, does he cover some ground in center field.
He and Ricard both were just cruising around the bases on that play that you were talking about on the triple. Ricard was out in front of him. They were both just flying.
Oh, 0-2 to Jerry Owens, a center fielder for the White Sox. Check swing, he went. Berkey applied the tag. That'll do it for the inning. Second strikeout for Felix. It was not the smoothest 4th inning. Nonetheless, the Mariners in charge, 10-4. Live horse racing on FSN featuring the 72nd edition of a Northwest tradition, the $400,000 Long Acres Mile from Emerald Downs. We'll also have bonus coverage, the $1 million Pacific Classic from Old Del Mar. Mike, who are you looking at in the Long Acres Mile here?
Well, I think how can you go wrong with the name Raise the Bluff, especially since you have a couple of people that are involved with the Huskies. Junior Coffey, former football player of the University of Washington, and a big supporter of Ron Crockett, of course. A lot of people familiar with him, but I'm going to go with Raise the Bluff.
All right. Let's see. What am I looking at here? Hold on. Let's get back to the baseball game for a second. But Tricky Trevor rings my bell a little bit right now, although the tough post position. He does reasonably well on wet tracks. And then we both think Lava Man's going to be tough today at Del Mar. And AP, excellent. Got a real good shot to do some work. As Lopez sends one in the air. Center field. Owens covering ground as usual. One down. Well, that third inning for the Mariners was remarkable. 5 runs, 4 hits. There was an error, and a huge error it was, by the shortstop Uribe that prolonged the inning by another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batters.
Well, this has been back-to-back days when the Mariners have batted around in an inning. They did it in the 6th yesterday, and of course the 3rd that you're talking about today. The guys are swinging the bats well, and you know, you win ball games. That's what you do. You take advantage of mistakes by the other team, and they certainly did in that inning.
Off the end of the bat by Berkey. Jamie 1 for 2, couple of runs scored today. What John Garland just didn't have it. Here's a guy that had been one of the real fine pitchers in the American League. The Mariners were all over him for 10 runs, 10 hits, 5 of them earned, a walk and a strikeout in 2 2/3 innings. Burke skies one, foul territory, long run by Erstad. Will get out of play. They were talking about Texas. Texas 4 games next week. Since late 2003, Mariners are 9-26 at Texas.
Tough place to play. That's another thing too with their club, the way they've basically built their club over that time. There's been a lot of offense with them. It's an offensive ballpark, and I'll guarantee you there have been plenty of times when the Mariners had leads in those ball games, and funny things can happen there.
Got a 5-run lead. You take a little deep breath. You think you're okay. Next thing you know, a couple bloops, a blast, and you're in trouble.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think of all the ballparks, the 2 that I think of where you're starting to roll into the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings with a lead, and you're still kind of wondering what's going to happen, is that place and Boston.
Oh. No question. 1 and 2 to Jamie Burke. Also, I think we had an episode or 2 in Baltimore where we could see that could happen too when the ball gets out of there pretty well. 2 and 2 to Burke. Punched it right side. Easy play, Jermaine dive. 2 down. Hey fans, enter the driving home sweepstakes at your Northwest Dodge dealers. It's your chance to win a 2007 Dodge Nitro. For every detail or entry details, visit your participating Northwest Dodge dealer today. We're in the 4th. And ESP Betancourt. 2 outs against Ryan Bucknich. Breaking ball in there for strike. Sky's brightening, although still cloudy. Roof extended here at Safeco. Right before the game started, extended the roof to cover up from the rain that moved in. He stays off it.
Yeah, get the guys used to what they're going to see over the next 3 days in Minnesota.
How about Minnesota? What's that like? I've done football games there. I've done baseball games there. But as a hitter, when you're down there, I mean, what kind of ball? Is it as bad as I hear it is?
Hitting isn't the problem. It's the fielding part of it. And it's not as bad as it used to be because they used to have that real bouncy turf in there. So the ball would take, super ball bounces on you. But the main thing is that roof is fly balls go up there and you'll see guys struggling to keep their eye on it. And then they will, over the course of those 3 days, somebody will lose a ball in that roof and it'll land someplace and they'll have no idea where it's at.
There'd be a lot of backing up. Ryan Buckvich came on in the third, went walk, walk, walk before he got it, the final out. Long run, Erstad again. He made a heck of a catch like that in Chicago last week. Foul ball, it got out of place, so Uni's at bat lives. What a disappointing season for the White Sox. 7 consecutive losses. They've fallen to dead last place. AL Central. 1-2 to Betancourt. Fields gives some ground. Long throw. Nice scoop by Erstad. That'll do it for the Mariners in the fourth. The Mariners holding a 10-4 lead. His people are there. They want their fries. And they came loaded for bear today. Hey, Mike Flowers, how about that? Yeah, we usually ask for flowers, but we'd rather the Mariners rally, so please do not dally. Please send us rally fries before we cry. Boy, that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort.
I think it was a lot of effort for you to try to get through that one.
Yeah. And that was in English. Josh Fields, Jim Thome, Jermaine Dye here in the fifth. I ran into one of those guys downstairs. Not the fellow I believe his name is Red, or it probably should have been Red. Remember the guy with the big Beltray bobblehead?
Yeah.
Saw another guy with one yesterday, or today. Said it retails for $360. Fields goes the other way. Long run, Guillen. And that's a home run. Got out of there. I was watching Guillen, expecting maybe it was going to bounce off the wall, and Josh Fields has homered again against the Mariners. Did it on an 0-2 pitch. Guillen, long run. He was hoping it was going to play off the wall, and it just got over the fence. Felix knows he is not as sharp as he'd like to be today. 10-5 ball game. Offense has given him plenty to work with this afternoon. Huge shift for Tommy, who was hit by a pitch on a 1-2 pitch back in the third. Jim's walking. Been hit. This one goes the other way. Raul Ibanez is there. 1 out. Take a look at our Comcast starters for tomorrow. It'll be Matt Garza against Horacio Ramirez. Washburn and Baker. That's coming up on Tuesday. Fly ball pitcher, that's Jared Washburn. How about this, Mike? In Minnesota, his 4-1 career, 1 home run in 39+ innings. That bodes well. What are you seeing out of Felix here? But no command on the breaking balls today.
Well, I mean, everything really. There's times when he looks pretty good, and then all of a sudden he'll just lose it. There's been a couple of batters where he's had him in 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts, and hasn't been able to make his pitches. Really, I go back to it. A couple of walks in the first few innings, but that at bat by Podsednik, after that at bat, I think it was 11 pitches. And you go into the third, and he started having problems from then on. It seemed like he's been frustrated with himself early in the ball game.
And Podsednik, a long at bat to end the second, then starting the third, double walk, 2-run triple, strikeout, hit batter, and a double play to finally end it. Beltre has that one under control. 2 down.
He's had to work hard today. 84 pitches so far. Here in the fifth, yeah.
Not a good number. Meanwhile, the Mariners offense aided and abetted by a huge error by Uribe. Going crazy. Ichiro's driven in 2, Guillen 4. Beltre's got 2 runs knocked in, and Bettencourt's got an RBI. Darren Erstad doubled to left his last time up. He's 1 for 2 with a run scored. Nice backhand by Ritchie, covering his Felix. Inning over. Home run by Josh Fields, though. Cuts the deficit in half. 10-5. Seattle lead. To find a local independent Safeco agent, visit Safeco.com. By Sterling Savings, the perfect fit bank. and by your Western Washington Toyota dealers. Toyota, moving you forward. Mariners going for the sweep, 10-5 lead. So we go to the home fifth, and it'll be the top of the order. Ichiro, Vidro, and Guillen. Dave Sims, Mike Flowers, and the FSN crew on hand. New pitcher, third of the day for the White Sox, is Matt Thornton. So Matt in Chicago earlier. Up and in. Ichiro with an RBI base hit. Drove in 2 back in the third inning. That was the 5-run, 4-hit inning for the Mariners. Helped by the Uribe error. Down the line, that's extra bases. Ichiro makes a nice turn at first. He's shifting into high gear. He's going to third, and he's going to make it easily. A stand-up triple by Ichiro. His 6th of the year.
It's also his third base hit of the game, and he's just wearing out the right side. A couple of balls in the hole, and this one he pulls down the line. See Erstad dive and try to get to him. Once he gets into the corner, there's a pretty good chance that Ichiro's going to make it to third, and he does easily standing up.
He cut first base beautifully and then had a good look at it at second. It was over after that.
White Sox bring their infield in.
Vidro's done well today. 2 for 2. A walk, 2 runs scored. Started today 9th in the American League batting race. One and 1 to Jose with Ichiro on third. Leadoff triple here in the 5th. Vidro's been outstanding with runners at third base in scoring position. Either with base hits, sac flies. Tied for second in the American League. He's got 8 sacrifice flies. Down low, nice dig by Paul. Martinez of Cleveland, Cabrera of the Angels with 9 sac flies. Broken bat, Fields throws across. One of the rare times you see Vidro not get that run in. Another exploding bat. And Thornton didn't really flinch here. Look at this. Bat goes right by him. And he was very calm if he did. Oh, there it is. He noticed it. Oh, by the way.
A little late to move at that point. About 4 or 5 feet by him by the time he flinched.
Boy, so many exploding bats these days. It's unbelievable. Mariners hitters 1 through 3 are 6 for 7, a homer and 6 RBIs, 5 runs, a double, and 2 walks. Wow. Guillen has done his work today. 2-run homer in the first, 2-run single in the second. He walked in the third. So he sets the right center field gap. Dye is there, tagging Ichiro. The throw not in time. Sac fly for Guillen. 5 RBIs on the afternoon. It's an 11-5 Mariner lead. Pretty good afternoon's work. Never have enough runs. Seen that illustrated recently Mariners had the lead in Chicago last weekend. J.J. Putz gave up a grand slam a couple nights ago. Raul Ibanez wide out the left, right, and walked.
Again, getting out of town in style with 5 RBIs.
77 on the year, one behind Raul, the team leader. And you know, when he got that last at bat in the third and he fouled the ball off his leg and he was in big pain, he might have killed McAfee.
Oh, he wasn't coming out. There's no way.
Thank you. No shot. It's Raul. Jose Guillen has proved to be as tough a customer as you ever want to see. 13 times he's been hit by a pitch. Looks like he'd be on the DL for about a year and a half, and he just hangs right in there. Here's Beltre. Homer to deep right center field back in the first. Got a bases loaded walk in the third. After flying out, he batted around. That's hit pretty well to left field, but it's going to be corralled by Pasednik. That was a good looking swing by Beltre. Hit it off the middle of the bat. And that'll do it for the Mariners. They leave a run, but a run scores. It's 11-5. Time for Rally Fries and Kira Ilste. Her last day here is our intern and our Rally Fry gal. Who's the winner here, Mike?
I think we're going to go. Oh, look at this.
You got multiple.
She's doing them all.
Got multiple winners.
Well, I figure it's her last day. She may as well treat everybody.
That's right.
I'd like to thank her for her hard work this year, putting up with our nonsense all year, running those fries out there.
Great job, Kira.
Yep.
And congratulations, folks.
Nice signs, guys.
Upper deck, third base, deep left field. Down the left field line. That's where those folks are sitting. Felix Hernandez gave up a run in the fifth. Ichiro and Guillen got it back for him. They'll face 6, 7, and 8. Uribe, Pasednik, and Hall. Mariners leaving town tonight. 3 games in Minnesota, 4 in Texas. Two. When you start the season, you wouldn't expect that Felix would be struggling with his command at this late date in the season. Granted, you know, he did the time on the DL, and he punches out Uribe. That's his third strikeout. But you can't say enough about the last couple of nights of performances by Weaver. and Batista. Two gentlemen have put up some nice numbers for the ball club. Batista went 6 1/3, a 3-hit, 3-run ball, 5 strikeouts, 5 walks. Got into trouble. Wound up costing him. And then Weaver did a nice job last night. Ball club's 23-19 under John McLaren. Jared Washburn will get a chance to start in Minnesota, looking for his first win since July 4th. You liked what you've seen out of him, in spite of the fact that he has not won since that long ago?
Jared, he just hasn't had the run support. I mean, you could definitely tack on a number more wins in games he's pitched well in.
Betancourt backhand fires, got him, 2 down.
I think when you're in a pennant race and you're trying to win, if you're running a starter out there and you feel like you've got a chance to win with that guy going, he's done a pretty good job at this time of the year. And I always feel like the club's got a chance to win when Jared's going out in there. He's going to give them an opportunity. Now, he can't control how many runs they score or how all of that's going to go, but I think he's pitched well.
Line drive on a couple of hops to Ichiro. Toby Hall. Hall with a double and a single, 2 for 3 today. There's the Felix out distribution. A lot of work for the guys in the infield. Garrett run support for Washburn, 4.9 runs. That's on the lower end of the spectrum. There's Richard, and he goes the other way by Betancourt, a base hit. 2 outs. The Sox have a couple runners on. Back to the top of the order, and Jerry Owens. Owens 2 for 3 with a strikeout today. 8 hits. Eric O'Flaherty's going to start tuning up as Rafi Chavez comes out. 99 pitches to this point for Felix Hernandez. Hitting heroes a bunch today. Ichiro's driven in 2. He has 3 hits on the day, 2 singles and a triple. Guillen's driven in 5 with a 2-run homer, a 2-run single, and a sac fly. Beltre has a solo home run and a bases loaded walk. And Betancourt has an RBI double. Plenty of offense today, 11 runs on 11 hits. Hernandez has a 2-out, 2-on situation here in the 6th. Felix has struck out 3, walked 3, and he was helped greatly in the first 3 innings. A double play in each of the first 3 innings to get out of trouble. Five runs on 8 hits for the White Sox. Both teams have made an error. One to Jerry Owens. Not been a good place for the White Sox here at Safeco. 8-20 at Safeco since 2001. There's a strike. 1-2. Sox have scored in each of the last 3 innings. 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Reared back, got that one up there at 98 miles an hour, fouled away. Mariner fans looking for an out right here to get out of this 2-on jam with 2 outs. Hit by Harold Baines. Angels won in Boston. Yankees won at home against Detroit. Status quo would be maintained, but with the Mariner win today, 2 behind the Angels, half-game lead on the Yankees in a wild card. Fouled away again. Look out. Bunch of numbers today, huh? That 3rd inning was huge. First inning wasn't too shabby either when Deanne went deep. A lot of damage done offensively. 11 runs on 11 hits. Hope that's your lucky number today. 1-2. Struck him out. I'll do it in the 6th. Couple of runners stranded. 4th strikeout for Felix. And we go to the home 6th with the Mariners in charge. 11-5. Okay, AT&T customers, it's time to shuffle for your chance to win a new Samsung Blackjack. Text in A, B, or C to 443 of where you think the globe ends up. For official rules and alternate form of entry, please go to foxsports.com/Northwest. Blackjack Shuffle is B. Thanks for playing, everybody. Back here at Safeco Field, an 11-5 Mariner lead. We go to the home 6th. Sexton, Lopez, and Burke will be facing a new pitcher. He's Mike Macdougall, making his 39th appearance. Walk strikeout ratio, not real good. 5.59 ERA. That's nothing to write home about either. But he'll get a chance to get some work in this afternoon. Mariners have swung the bat very well today. Richie Sexton 1 for 3. He's got a run scored. First pitch to Richie. Fastball misses outside. One-0 to Sexton. Sexton 0 for 6 against Macdougall. Richie heading the count here, 2-0. Bounce to Uribe. Throws him out. Here's a chance for you to see the Mariners take on the Angels, A's, and Indians for just $10 a game. The ECU Family Nights feature view reserve tickets for just $10. So head to Mariners.com. Get great seats for the biggest games down the stretch. Outstanding crowd today. 45,668. Sellout number 11. Good support by Mariner fans. Sellout number 10 was Friday night. If you're of a certain age and remember the old Beverly Hillbillies TV show, y'all come back for that Angel series next Monday now. You hear?
Should be a good one. See what happens on this road trip. You guys are going to have to take care of the Twins. They struggled with them this year, but then you go into Texas, and who knows what can happen at that place. But they take care of business today. They're still just 2 games back of the Angels.
Take it. I had to call a friend to get a phone number back in Philly, and it turns out he's a New York fan. He says, a Yankee fan says, you guys won't lose. I said, that's the point.
The Yankees are supposed to be buried by now.
Opie rips one. Foul. Yeah, their pitching's still not, super, but guess what? They're right where they want to be.
They are hammering the baseball. These guys are scoring some runs.
And we're not surprised by that. A lot of guys got healthy. Some of the kids they brought up went nuts swinging the bat. 2-2 to Lopez. Beating up Toby Hall.
Looks like he's trying to throw a slider as hard as he possibly can.
I don't blame Toby. Go out there, catch a blow for a second. I hear noise. That means somebody's probably trying to start the wave, and indeed that is the case in the deep right field corner. 1 out for Lopez, 2-2. Make that 3-2. Big play. Sent to center field. Owens cruises over. 2 outs. You're in a situation like the Texas ball club with 14 games under 500 starting today, 17 out, last place in the American League West. Got to believe we'll see all their kids and
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No, because
what do you think?
Well, I would think that Ron Washington, a guy that's been around forever, I think he's going to do the right thing. And certainly some of the kids are going to play, but he's going to try to play to win those games.
The ball driven deep to right by Burke. Talk more about that when we come back. A 3-up and 3-down inning in the 6th. Mariners in control right now, 11-5. over the White Sox as they close in on a sweep before taking off on the road for a week. Come back to 3 with the Angels. Don't forget that series. Not that we're looking past Minnesota and Texas, but that Angels series next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Got a chance to be really big, as both the Mariners, as of today, Mariners have 17 of the next 20 on the road. Angels have 17 of the next 20 at home.
Yeah, the only 3 road games are going to be here in Seattle. But getting back to what we were talking about with Washington down in Texas.
Yep.
And what he's going to do. It's typical of managers. If teams are in a race, they will play their veteran guys in that series for the most part, and they will try to win those games as a courtesy to the other club. In other words, when the Angels go into Arlington, he will do the same thing with them. And I think that's probably what we're going to see. Will he play the kids? Sure he will.
Here's Fields driving one to right center field on one hop to Ichiro. Gets it back quickly.
But I don't think it'll be a situation we'll see all the kids out there playing.
Gotcha. Consecutive hits by Fields. He homered deep into the right field lower stands. Fields 2 for 4 today. Eric O'Flaherty getting ready. Well, Felix is beneficiary of a huge offensive attack today. He struck out 4. He's walked 3. Change up to Tomey. Strike 1. Have you been in a situation like that where you're in last place?
Yeah.
This time of year, and you got teams coming in, hey, red hot, trying to get it going, trying to win something.
Well, absolutely, and I can remember, when I was a rookie with the Yankees breaking in, and that's basically what Bucky Dent, who was the manager at the time, told me when I called in the office. I'm going to play you when I can, but if we're playing against clubs that are in a race, you probably won't see the field in that series. And he explained to me the reason why, and that's just the way it works. And so, since that point, I've always paid attention to that. And I think for the most part, most managers manage that way.
Flip of the coin from what the Mariners are going through right now. The exhilaration of a chase as Tomey's caught looking. Fifth strikeout by Felix. One down here in the 7th.
And Tomey thought maybe this pitch was up.
Plate umpire Dan Iasanga ring him up. K's for rally fries, huh? Came for strikeouts and rally fries. I wish I could say Dan Pardo, tell them what they want, but we can't. One out in the 7th. Jermaine Dye. Twice bounced into double plays, grounded out to 3rd. Here's Felix on a little bit of a roll here now. 0-2. Gave up a 2-0 base hit to Fields. Struck out Tomey looking on a 1-2 pitch. Now he's ahead of Dye.
Trouble.
Sure is. Right in the old Bermuda Triangle. Base hit for Dye. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. John McLaren's going to come out and going to make a move here. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Felix Hernandez day is done. 5 strikeouts, walked 3, gave up 5 runs on 10 hits. The Mariners have a lead of 11-5.
In line for a win. That's the bottom line. Let's give the club a chance to win. Got a lot of run support today. He'll take the W.
Look at the Felix highlights. Our Ford bold move of the game. So 116 pitches ties his season high, set back on July 7th in Oakland. 6 1/3, a 10-hit ball, 5 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Eric O'Flaherty against Darren Erstad. 1 out, couple of runners on, runners at first and second. Erstad 0 for 1 career against O'Flaherty. Strike 1. There's the 0-1. It misses. Brandon Morrow continues. We'll get ready. Flaherty's last appearance last Saturday. 2 1/3 against the White Sox. Off the fist fouled away. Look out.
A 6-run lead. Sure, Mac would like to see Eric get out of this thing if he can get out of it without giving up a run here. Just go with him as long as he can, knowing what they have in store for him. Just one off day, and that'll be all the way out when they're in Detroit after they finish that Yankee series. Not on this road trip, but the next one. So I'd like to see him go as far as he can go, I think.
And you're talking September 6th. Because what was an off day on the 30th, Thursday a week, that'll be a trip to your favorite town.
Cleveland?
Cleveland, Ohio. Waiting for you at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 2-2 to Erstad. On deck is Juan Uribe. He's 0 for 3 today. The 3-2 pitch to Erstad. Struck him out. 2 down. Big strikeout for O'Flaherty and the Mariners.
It's like a 3-2 slider. Gets Erstad to chase.
Uribe, a strikeout victim, his last at bat. Felix got him looking on a 3-2 pitch in the 6th. Mariners home 7th. It'll be Betancourt, Ichiro, and Vidro. 9-1-2. Check down at first base. Dale Scott said he did not go. 2-0 to Juan Uribe. Jermaine Dye on base, first base. Fields at second. Scott Posednik, who's your on deck hitter. 3-0 the count to Uribe. Got away. That's ball 4. The wild pitch. Bases are loaded. Take the wild pitch off the board. It's ball 4 anyway. Sednick came up with the Mariners. First AB. It's a Mariner. Bases loaded. Gapped one. Got all the way to the third. They could have waved him in. They didn't, so he wound up with a bases loaded triple. He could have been the first to begin his career with a bases loaded inside the Parker. Slaps one to the left side. Raul Ibanez, long run, foul territory. He's got it, and the inning is over. So Flaherty gets out of a little bit of a warm water situation, if you will. 11-5 Mariners. Brought to you by your Northwest Chevy dealers. See your Northwest Chevy dealers today or visit us online at northwestchevydealers.com. By Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before, visit southwest.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Been a great offensive day for the Mariners today. 11-5 the Mariners, bottom 7 as we bring you back to the Coors Light 7th inning. Time now for a Coors Light Cold Blast. And how about the first inning? A hanger. And Guillen took it out for a 2-run shot off of John Garland. And that started the onslaught. That was a 3-run first. Beltre homered in that inning. And the Mariners were off. 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 5 in the third. And a run in the fifth. Boone Logan is the new pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. Our Nissan shift to the bullpen. Ozzie Guillen giving everybody a chance out of the pen today. He had to be real disappointed with his starter John Garland. 2 2/3, 10 hits, 10 runs, 5 earned, a walk, and a strikeout. Boone Logan. Take a look at 9-1-2 for the Mariners. Bet Corditro and Vidro. Hey, the excitement, it's building for 3 of the most important games of the season beginning on Monday, the 27th of August. Mariners will be hosting the Angels. American League West title, it's on the line, and you can be a part of it. Tickets remain, but you know what? Don't get left out. They're going to go fast. Reserve your seats for all 3 games. Do it today, right now, at mariners.com. Dave Simpson, Mike Blowers with you. Who could forget that uni blast there to help get one of the wins against the Angels their last trip in. Here's Uni to lead it off. And an RBI double. He's 1 for 3. Goes the other way. That's a gapper. Dye's not going to glove it. How far can he run? Uni digging hard. He's taking a look. He's going to go for 3. Here's the throw to third. He's in with a triple. Uni Betancourt, his first triple of the season.
Well, one thing that we know is he runs hard. Watch him take off right away. I would say right about there, David. You said how far will he go? He knew how far he was going, all the way to third.
Tell you what, you can get on that kid if you want about the 22 errors, but he plays with verve, joy, and excitement, and I love the way he busted out of the box. If it looks like he's got a chance to get extra bases. Ichiro had a day.
As he moves along in his career, those error totals will start to come further down and down and down and down. A lot of them we've watched. Well, early in the season he was having some throwing issues he's worked out, which cost him a bunch. But you know, most of the time or he gets a little lackadaisical on some things, and that's when he makes it. And as he matures and gets older and plays more, he'll realize how important all those plays are, and he'll cut those numbers down.
I totally
no
agree.
denying the talent this kid has.
Smart move, locking him up for a long time. There's a strike to Ichiro. Ichiro, a 3 for 4 day, knocked in 2. He scored 3 times. Infield in. Erstad will keep Betancourt at third base. I'll bring up Vidro. Vidro had an RBI opportunity his last time out, but he grounded out, but he was picked up by Guillen with the sac fly. That was back in the 5th. Jose's done well. A double, run scored, a walk, a single, and a run scored. Short right field. Dye has the play. Ball got by Erstad. Quickly 2 outs after the Betancourt triple. Ichiro's done well. Vidro's done well, but Guillen has had a special day. He's knocked in 5, a home run, 2-run job, 2-run single, and a sac fly. He's got 77 RBIs, and that's second now to Raul Ibanez is 78. Beltre hanging in there tough too. He's 2 RBIs today. He's got 73.
It's cute, a changeup. It looked like right off the end of the bat.
A little chalk on that stick. Hold up. They checked down first. No, he didn't. Dale Scott said he got through with a strike, so it's 0-2. Borderline in the final analysis.
Worse.
It's a lot worse. 0-2. Guillen's tied his career high with 5 RBIs on the day. He's done it 5 previous times. Two and 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner at third. Short right field. Dye will take that one as well. So the Uni triple goes for naught. Runner stranded. 7 in the books. 11-5 Mariners. sweep. Time now for a Geico quote, and we go to Ozzie Guillen. Little surprised when he checked some numbers earlier today.
I was looking at the numbers. I'm not a number guy. I never been in the computer. I never check any stats. I be a number. I was checking the numbers. The first thing went to my mind. Wow. I even thought, why is the reason we last place? Well, now I know what's the reason we last place. When we pitch real poor, we second last in pitching, second last one in hitting. And with this kind of club we have, we should be in that position. We should be losing game, but at least pitching well or hitting well, and we don't do any of those things.
Hence the formula for a 54-68 record, about to go to 69. Toby Hall, Richard, and Owens, 8-9-1 for the White Sox. Toby Hall's had a nice day, double to left center, single to center, and reached on an error. Adam Jones taking over at right field for Guillen. Eric O'Flaherty came on to get the last couple of outs in the 7th inning, and relief from Felix Hernandez, who started 6 in the 3rd, 10 hits, 5 runs all earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for Felix. This one hit a mile high. Beltre camps on it. 1 out. Coming up tomorrow, first of 3 in Minnesota, Horacio Ramirez against Matt Garza, followed by Jared Washburn against Scott Baker. And then a getaway day game. It'll be Miguel Batista against Carlos Silva. Did Ramirez turn it around on the road? What do you think?
I think you better get it going. I know that. It's a tough ballpark he's going to be pitching in, the Metrodome. AstroTurf. Nice place to hit. Nice bat.
Sure was. Raul got a good jump on it. 2 down. We're getting late in the season. Club very much in it. As Raul, who's had a fabulous month of August, Rob told me of a home run yesterday. Certainly has built his reputation more on his bat than his glove, but he's made some fine plays. He's thrown out 5 runners, 5 assists on the season. But that Ramirez pitching spot, that's a big one. The 5-hole, the starting rotation. The other guys are on a roll right now.
Well, and the other thing is if you decide that you're going to make a change at some point, you look at it. He has, I think, 2 more starts before September comes around when you can expand your roster. I mean, Mac has stayed with him. He's obviously, there was a lot of questions after his last start was going to happen. Mac's put him back out there again, so hopefully they can get something going with him.
If he were to get it going, it looks like he'd pitch Saturday in Texas and then the following Thursday in Cleveland. Big spots.
Well, not only big spots, but like I said, the Metrodome, and then he's going to pitch in Arlington. 2 great places to hit, and then you're going to Cleveland, a club that can absolutely hammer it. It's no easy task in front of him.
Swap foul by Jerry Owens. I was talking to Matt the other day. The biggest question, concern certainly about Ramirez, more of a differential between his fastball and his changeup is a big thing they're going to be working on. So Flaherty tees Owens on 1-2-3-8. 11-5 Mariners. And Gavin Floyd's going to get a chance to do some work when we come back. Go for the sweep. Get that homestand to 4-2. And after the game, we're going to bring you live horse racing on FSN featuring the 72nd edition of the Northwest Tradition. $400,000 Long Acres Mile from Emerald Downs. We'll also have bonus coverage of the $1 million Pacific Classic from Old Del Mar. So stay tuned for that. Dave Sims, Mike Blowers, and the FSN crew. Good Sunday afternoon to you from Seattle. Kevin Floyd. Sixth pitcher used today by Ozzie Guillen. Eighth inning, it'll be Ibanez, Beltre, and Sexton 4, 5, and 6. Ball one to Raul. Ball gets it elevated, but straight up. The old silo, and recorded by Owens. One out. Bobby Jenks, 41 consecutive innings, 41 consecutive batters retired. Ties the Jim Bar Major League record. The guys are going to try to bring him in.
Watching the club play, I think that one of the things that you would like to see is your team improve as the season goes on and get some momentum going in to September. Well, they're certainly there. They're playing as good as they've played all season, I think. And the great thing about it is, you mentioned the starters that are pitching well in the bullpen. We've talked about all year long, but offensively, the guys up and down the lineup. I mean, you can just pick a guy, and it seems like somebody's doing something on a nightly basis, and that is certainly something to be encouraged about.
Tell you what, they go in the other clubhouses to do the radio pregame show, and you get chatting with guys as Beltre goes down 3 pitches. They'll say, "Hey, this club, there's no easy outs." So this club is earned and commands a lot of respect from their peers in the game, the American League. So hey, it's a good ball club.
It is a good club, and they do a lot of the little things. They're doing them all right now. We talked a lot about Vidor getting sacked flies, Guillen tonight with one, moving guys over. Just a lot of the things that you have to do to win games they're doing.
I know Torrey Hunter said, I think it was Torrey or somebody else said the same thing, that hey, we don't even, Richie's struggling. 209, but you look at the 19 and the 58, that gets people's attention. I know a lot of people have been down on Richie all year. And he's hit another ball hard right at somebody, but so it goes. But he's still got time to really bust out of it. He has hung in there like Weaver's hung in, and his year turned around. So there's still plenty of time for him to be the productive hitter they're used to seeing. Brandon Morrow will be the next pitcher for the Mariners, 11-6. All over the Chicago White Sox today. We won't see Bobby Jenks today as we take a look at our Quest Spirit of Service. But Jenks has some good numbers going there, Mike. 41 batters retired, 41 consecutive, tying Jim Barr for the major league record. Browning, Johnson, Haddix, and Wells all had perfect games involved in their stretch. But we saw Bobby tie the mark against the Mariners last week. Big boy that throws hard. Here's a youngster that does likewise. Brendan Morrow, 9th inning. We'll face Josh Fields, Jim Thome, and Jermaine Dye.
No wonder why he was out throwing in the pen. He's been off for a week.
Is that Bobby Jenks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's since we last saw him. Is that wild?
That is.
Tell you what, he came in, he was firing too. Fields has got base hits his last 2 times up, a single in the 8th and a home run in the 5th. 2 for 4 a day, includes a strikeout. Morrow's not seen a bunch of action either. That bodes well for this stretch. I'll tell you that. The Mariners are getting ready to go to 3-0 in this stretch of 44 games in 45 days. He's gone. 1 out. Morrow. There's a lightning bolt in there for strike 3 call. 1 out here in the 9th. It's a challenge for the youngster, Jim Thome.
Put the big shift on him again. Jose playing shallow right field.
Good reason too. If he gets a hold, if he were to get a hold of one of these fastballs and it was a low flying object, it could be dangerous. He speeds on it. A lot of times you see a shift, the guy will be just maybe a foot or 2 just off the dirt. He's well back.
I like that for a couple of reasons. When they're, like you were talking, just off the dirt onto the grass, sometimes that cut in there can cause you a problem. He's that far back. He's got plenty of time to make the play. Thome doesn't run well, so he doesn't have to worry about hurrying. But that could help him out just fielding the ball.
And we get that bad skip if you're close, if you're just off the dirt, right?
Right, exactly. There's where the grass and the dirt are, there's a seam in there, a cut. The grass a little bit higher. Sometimes you get a bad hop off of there.
How about Morrow? 2 strikeouts. Very efficiently done here. Top 9, looking to close it out. Good pitch. Downward movement. Brendan Morrow. Bullpen's going to be huge. Mariners hang their hat on the bullpen. Main Dye. Base hit the center back in the 7th. 1 for 4s, hit into 2 double plays. 2 outs here in the 9th. Mariners 11-5. Pouring in the fastballs, 1-1. They got the brooms out for good reason. Another strike by Morrow. He's not messing around. 1-2. This homestand about to end right here. 11-5 Mariners. The pitch hit on the ground to Betancourt. Game over. Mariners win it. Take the series, a sweep of the White Sox. 11-5 today. They go 4-2 in the homestand. They've now won 15 of the last 21. This team is rolling.
Well, you talked about it. We've all been talking about the schedule and the way things are going to turn. It's going to get tougher as they move along. For them to come in and sweep the White Sox the way it is, a nice way to start things before they head out on the road for a long period of time, 3 weeks for them.
Final score for today's game. Mariners win at 11-5 to go 4-2 in this homestand. Upcoming, take a look at the road trip. We'll hear from the players. the Long Acres Mile horse race. We'll talk about that as Mariners coverage continues next on FSN.